Welcome to Exhausted Sparrows Unite, and I am your host, Krista Jones, and today I am so lucky to be joined by my two co-hosts, Chantel Schaefer and Tom Morell, and guess what, you? We're going to be talking about you being the person that can kind of tell that somebody's having a bad day without them even saying a word. You're the one that cries at commercials and you take on everybody else's mess like it's your own, and you're emotionally exhausted by 9 a.m. on a Monday. Welcome to the club. It's not glamorous. There's no t-shirt, just a lot of crazy feelings. This today is our Empath Diaries, an episode that's dedicated to those of you who feel everything, and I mean everything. If you've ever walked into a room and you picked up emotions that you didn't drop there, this episode is for you. We're going to talk about the science, the symptoms, the superpowers, and the soul level burnout when it comes to being wired this way. But more than that, we're going to talk about the boundaries that empaths need to set in order for them to heal. Take a deep breath. This space is a safe space, empath. Let's unpack what you're carrying and figure out what's not even yours to begin with. Welcome, Chantel and Tom. I get both of you today.
Hi. Hold on. So you said you don't get a t-shirt?
There is no t-shirt.
I was told there was a t-shirt.
Well, there are a lot of great slogans that we could use for this, and we could create t-shirts.
That's an idea.
And we could sell t-shirts.
On the merch shop, yeah.
And then we could donate all the money to Sparrow's Nest, which is the reason this whole thing exists.
You're going to have to make a shirt that says flop like a fish.
Flop like a fish. That was last week's episode. And Beth Corso, congratulations for getting your very own t-shirt, for hearing us throw in the word flop like a fish.
And I think he's got a cake on the front seat. Should also be a t-shirt.
I think so too.
They've got a cake on the front seat.
This could be how we raise money for Sparrow's Nest, which is a charity dedicated to cooking delicious homemade meals for families right here in the Hudson Valley, New York, that are facing a cancer diagnosis. And out of this charity, and Krista Jones, me, your host, being exhausted, I'm like, let's do Exhausted Sparrows Unite, and let's just get down to the real nitty gritty, and let's get authentic. Like, just rip off that mask of having it all together, and let's all just talk about our messy selves.
I'm ridiculously empathic, and all I got was this t-shirt. I think that's the shirt.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Would any of you buy that shirt? And if you would, we can go into print tomorrow. We can have these things here by Monday.
Absolutely. Yeah, we could. Yeah.
I think everybody should go through the episodes and pick out their favorite lines from the episodes.
Oh.
And comment on the episodes.
I was going to say, I listened to the Dan Patrick Show. It's a radio show.
Yes, it is.
And every so often they're like, yep, that's the t-shirt. That's the t-shirt from the show.
So all right, t-shirts. Yeah. That's what you're telling me. We're making t-shirts,
and
I love Chantel's idea. Go through our episodes. If there's a line that you love,
that's the t-shirt.
How about your, prune your bushes? That's my favorite. Like whatever it is, like put that down, and we are going to make t-shirts.
We're talking about foliage, right? Okay,
we are.
All right. I just want to make sure.
Every time I say it, I do cringe slightly. Slightly. So, all right. So we in this room are all empaths. So I think, first of all, we've got to define what it is, because there are people out there that don't know what it is. And honestly, I think I was one of those people, even like 5 years ago. I didn't know what it was, but I think I was listening to a podcast as well, or it might have been an Instagram influencer that I love. And like they start like saying all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. And so an empath, for those of you that are like, well, what exactly is it? Because I don't know if that's me, is somebody that feels and absorbs the emotions, the energy, and even physical symptoms of others, often without even intending to. And they just understand how someone feels. But not only do they understand it, sometimes they bring it to a level that's so deep, it really mentally for them is disturbing, right?
The word is responsibility, right? That's what I always think of it as, is you almost take on the responsibility of other people's feelings, which is like unintentionally. Like you don't intend to. Like you said, you walk into a room and you leave there picking up feelings from people that you don't even feel like you feel responsible because Sally's having a bad day or Rick is down on his luck. And you somehow, when you say, oh, I'm sorry that's happening, you really do feel sorry because you feel somehow there's something that you may have contributed to that, or your first thought is, well, what did I do to contribute to that?
Or how can I fix it?
Or how can I fix it? Yes. Yeah.
So it's like this hyper like emotion, right? It's like this hyper thing going on in your brain. If you're an empath, like you don't just say, I'm so sorry I'm having a bad day. You know, I hope it gets better. But you really dive in 100%, which I used to think, oh, I'm an empath. Like, I don't know. I kind of bragged about it. And then I realized like, there are positive features to that because, you know, you are a very loving person and you truly care about everybody else. But there is also a lot of negative that comes with that. And I think, you know, we're just going to really discuss it all today. So welcome, empaths. And if you're not an empath, I think this is still a great episode for you because you may be able to identify somebody that is, and then you can relate to them better because you may not understand how they are all in and they're crying at the Advil commercial, which I did last night. I'm like, and her headache. Oh gosh, I hope does she need a CAT scan? Like, so,
do your kids laugh at you when you cry?
They're numb to it at this point. They're a little numb.
My daughter gets like annoyed with me.
Yeah,
we went and saw Lilo and Stitch yesterday, and I cried like, I don't know, 15 times. And she's like, Mom, stop.
Yeah, why are you crying?
I'm like, I can't.
But I feel there's a lot of great like lessons to be learned in Lilo and Stitch.
It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, she just doesn't know yet.
I've seen the movie Up once.
Oh,
can't do it. Sorry, can't do it.
Amazing.
I know that there's movies I can't watch. Can't do it. Can't watch E.T.
You're
Nope. I've seen it twice in my life. Once when I was a kid and once to show the kids. And I was like, sweetie, what do you guess things a great movie, right? It's good.
2 weeks later, Tom is still peeled on the floor. You're trying to peel him off the floor, but it is backed by science. So research says that, here we go. Empaths have this hyper-reactive mirror neuron system. It means their brain cells, which are responsible for compassion and emotional responses, are more than 80% higher than the normal person. So you can see as empaths are in overdrive the minute that they walk into that room, right? Their nerve system is just overactive the minute they're in a room.
And it's not like a sponge. You're more like a mirror, like it says there, it reflects it. You not just absorb it, but you also reflect it yourself. So when someone feels bad, you feel bad. When someone feels happy, you feel happy. When someone feels overjoyed, you feel overjoyed. It's not just an absorption of it like, hey, I can acknowledge it and see it. It's also, I feel that way too now for some reason. And I can't explain it either. It's a weird feeling though. But it is, to your point, it is very exhausting though.
It is. And I think because you have this like you're super sensitive. You're very intuitive, right? Like I absolutely read the energy when I walk into a room and I will either be really uncomfortable or, I will be really excited. And it can just be one or two people in that room where their energy is off and it changes everything for me. It changes my whole personality. It's weird.
It's that like I start to get butterflies in my stomach or like a knot in my stomach when I feel it's not anything in particular. It's not one thing that I can point to, but like you walk into space and you're just like, this doesn't feel, I'm feeling weird here.
And people that are not empaths, and they say only 20% of people are, 15 to 20%, but people that aren't empaths also don't get it. And then they, and something's off, but they feel it's you. And you're like, oh my gosh, that was so weird. Wasn't that awkward? Wasn't that? And a lot of people will be like, no. So then you're not validated for that. And for me, that like throws me in this spiral and this depression. And I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody else senses it. And I feel something's really off, but maybe there's something wrong with me. There's a lot to it.
It's a spiral, yeah. Because then
it is. It
also builds into like a lack of confidence then, because now you wonder if, like you said, if that is this what you're feeling? Is this what's happening? Is this what they're thinking? And I think we talked about this with some of the other episodes too. Is like now you start overthinking. And
stinking thinking that we have said before, which we all need to get out of, but. I think first, let's give empaths some credit. Like, I think we should talk about all the amazing traits that go behind being an empath, right? You have this emotional intuition. So you do know when something's wrong even before words are spoken. And that is a beautiful gift to have, because there are many of us, myself included, that even though I am an empath, I also will tell you that nothing's wrong with me. So it is really a gift when you know that I'm sad or I'm upset and you're an empath and you're like, no, something's wrong. And I could keep saying, no, I'm fine. Because I do have that t-shirt.
Empath to empath, it's almost like putting two magnets against each other. They're like, no, I'm good. And you're like, no, I'm good. No, really, I'm good. No, I'm good.
But it is
and
great.
really nobody's good.
And nobody's good.
Yes, exactly.
And to be an empath and to really go into that and go, I absolutely know that something's off. That is a great gift to have, because then like we can see that you see through us. And a lot of times that does, I think it makes empaths more vulnerable when somebody can really see that they're not telling the truth. They can read their energy. So like, that is beautiful. That is a superpower.
I like it too. In some ways, it is, for me, it is a gift, because you can think about what the other side, you can see things from the other side. Like, hey, if I say this is what they're going to do. And it's like the overthinking part, kind of is almost like a blessing in that sense, because now when I say something, or when I write a message to somebody, or I text somebody, or I email somebody, I'm always thinking about, well, if I was reading this, they're going to feel this way. And I'm so hyper vigilant about how other people will feel about the things that I'm doing, that I feel like I back off on things a little bit. The only downside to that, of course, is that I get labeled as the nice guy who never is assertive. I'm not as assertive because I'm afraid to hurt somebody else's feelings, because it would hurt me if they did that to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
100%. That's that mirror thing. Like,
yes.
How would I take it? So I think that is also a gift. You're a good communicator. You're able to communicate. However, I notice, because you said some things, so that was interesting. You said, if I'm emailing somebody, or like, to me, that's always dangerous, right? Anytime I email, anytime I put anything in text, because there's no affliction behind it. So I'm worried no matter what I say.
Yeah.
I'll go to AI and say, how can I say this nicely? And AI will give me 4 ways. And I'm like, I don't know. And then I'll try to put a smiley face and like a little...
Or the LOLs, which is always a great way to write a professional email to somebody.
Right, like with an LOL.
Like, LOL.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
I expected this yesterday. LOL.
LOL. Yeah, no.
But I'm not mad at all.
No,
I hope you had a good day off. I didn't take off. Yeah. So like, there's all that stuff.
But it takes you 5 times longer to write an email or send a text message or think about what it is you want to say, or when you call people. That's why I prefer texting, because I can edit and take out, and I can think about it, versus if I have to call someone back on the fly, I'm like, don't want to offend you right now, so I don't know what to say.
Right. Always go to AI. No, I don't know.
Hey, AI, can you call Krista and
don't make me sound offended. And another great superpower is you are a human lie detector, right? Because you feel when something is off, and a lot of time you don't need the receipts to prove it.
See, can I tell you, I'm the complete opposite.
No, as an empath?
Are you gullible?
I am so gullible. I believe everybody, and I think everybody has such a good heart, and everybody has good intentions. I'm the complete opposite of that.
That's really interesting.
I have a really hard time determining.
I'm an empath, but I'm also a skeptic.
See, I'm somewhat of a skeptic, but when people like, this just happened the other day, we had a guy come to the door and he's like, hey, I'm from this and this pest control. And we had a whole conversation, and he's like, he's asking me questions about like, have you paid off your mortgage yet? How many people live in your, and I'm just like, yeah, there's this and there's that. And
yeah. Where Chantel and I would be like, red flag.
Yeah. I answer the door with a knife in my hand.
And afterwards I'm like, wait a minute. Did I just tell this guy all this personal
your social security number, your driver's license?
Just shy of that, yes. But like I have this, I don't know, this innate belief that like people are good inside, because I am. So like when I do things, when I'm friendly with someone else, or when I do this, or make a joke with someone else, I'm always like, well, if they did that to me, I would think that would be fine. Nobody has good intentions out there, and it's just
So
it's
you,
the opposite,
Tom,
yes.
have a lot going on.
Yeah.
You are not only an empath, but you are also a little bit gullible. You believe everybody. Really nice guy.
Look, it says gullible on the back of my shirt. And that's the shirt.
If you see Tom Morell out today, make sure that you give him a big hug.
And don't tell me anything that's remotely not believable, because I'll believe it.
All right. So those are strengths, right? You have the uncanny ability, other than Tom, to spot dishonesty or discomfort.
Tom's the outlier here.
Tom, and you're a deep listener. I feel like, I'll get on the phone with potential recipients here. Like I have to set a clock and get off, because I will get so involved in what's going on. Like I bring it home with me. You're just a deep listener. Like somebody will say something to me. I thought it might be the reporter in me, cause I used to be in that field in the radio business with Tom, but I need to then know more. You'll tell me part of your story, and I'm asking you 7 other questions, and I'm asking you these questions because I'm going deeper, because now I'm going to try to fix whatever's going on with you, Sally.
Well, and also in your head, you're placing yourself in that scenario.
Right.
Like I need this information. If I'm going to fix this, I didn't ask you to fix this. Yeah, but if I'm going to fix this, I need to know all of the details.
Exactly.
What day of the week was it? What time of the day was it? Who else was there? What were you eating for breakfast? That kind of stuff.
Right.
That normal people wouldn't think. I shouldn't say normal people. I don't mean that. But
the other 80%.
That other people don't even think about in a story. They just go, oh, okay, well, she just had a bad day. Well, no, did this happen? Did that happen? I can see that.
Right.
And it gets very frustrating for non-empath. Like my husband, I love him. He's a very nice person, but he's not an empath. And people talk to him and he's like, just stop.
He did that to me the other night. I was like, all right.
Can you be nice?
The other night he started watching the basketball game. I was talking to him at Sloop, and he's like, I'm like, all right, he's done. He's totally
finished,
done with me.
He's done with the details.
And that's the thing, but that's the good thing, right? As an empath, you don't need a vibe check. You are the vibe check. Like you walk in the room, you read that room. So that's great. But there's a lot of downsides to being an empath. And I think the 3 of us feel that. It is the cost of carrying it all, because you believe that is your responsibility. And we've talked, as Tom said, and Chantel and I have done in many episodes, about, what are you really responsible for? Over and over again, living your most authentic self means that you've got to take care of yourself. But the empath has this chronic fatigue, anxiety, depression, burnout. It is all parts of being an unprotected empath. So empaths that know how to protect themselves are okay, but that's 2-3% of all empaths. So there are a lot of empaths walking around that are just emotionally drained all the time because they don't know how to protect this amazing gift.
Yeah, and you have to think of it as a gift, because if you think of it as a curse, then everything you do with it is bad. It's like Spider-Man, right? Gets bitten by the spider, and you go, okay, you can crawl up in walls, and he's got these super strength and all this stuff. And some of that can be a bad thing, if you don't know how to use it. It's knowing how to use your empathy for good instead of for evil, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
no, I think you
not the actual evil, but
right.
Having it hurt you instead of using it in a positive way.
Right. Having you absorb more than you really need to be absorbing. 68% of empaths in a 2020 survey found that they have difficulty distinguishing their emotions from others.
Yeah.
Right.
That's really the challenge. Yeah.
It really is.
Because you take on everything.
Right.
And so teach us the ways. Show us the way.
I'm going to teach you the ways when we're done talking about the dark side.
Oh, the dark side?
There's plenty of it, right?
Well,
like absorbing people's moods, right?
Yeah.
It's like absorbing secondhand smoke, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get digestive issues. Like we can dive so deep into this because like you said earlier, your stomach gets in knots. And I'm like, you're right. It affects, your digestive issues. Like it affects so much more than just you taking on the strength of somebody's issues.
And can I tell you, mood swings are like, mine go like a pendulum. It goes left to right and back and forth and up and down. And it happens very quickly because I'll be having a great day, had a great day at work. Everything was productive. I'll come home and something happens. One of the kids has done something or whatever, and boom, in a second, I'm off, and I'm off of being good.
Right.
Like having a good feeling. That whole feeling before is just gone. I can't explain it. But on the other side, if I'm having a horrible bad day, and I come home and my son is like, "Hey, look at this picture I drew." And it's it's got this, it's me and dad playing catch, and I'm like, "That's beautiful." Then it's like, everything's great again,
Right.
And it's, if you're not an empath, you don't understand, but it's like going from extreme sadness to extreme happiness and back and forth is like, it takes a lot of mental energy,
which
takes a lot out of you.
Right. Which is a manic person. Like it's like a manic disorder. And here's something that I wanted to say specifically to you, because Tom and I joke about having, ADHD. I've never been diagnosed, but there's something going on there. Chantel's like, there absolutely is. Emotional dysregulation mimics symptoms of ADHD.
Yeah.
So do we really have that? Or being an empath, I mean, like, do we have it all?
You jump from one emotion to another.
It could be that you're just an empath and you take all of this and think you have ADHD, but one doesn't really know. And I feel like maybe we can get a therapist in here to clinically diagnose us.
That's our next episode idea. Write that down.
I am taking notes.
Okay, gotcha.
Chantel's always taking notes. So, all right. So empaths struggle a lot with codependency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And fawning. So fawning is people pleasing. That's our trauma response. As you were saying, you got to make everybody in the room happy. Everybody needs to like you. So that's the problem. Like it's this danger zone for us. So now what?
That's a great question. Now what? Because I struggle with this. This is not, I have to talk to myself a lot of times. If something happens at work, someone, is nasty with me at work. And I work, the environment I work in is very, there's for high pressure with the people that I work with, because it's a sales environment. And, especially towards the end of the month, people are trying to make their numbers and whatnot. So a lot of people are short with me when I need something. And, when they're short with me, I have to literally, when I hang up the phone and go, what is his problem? And now I'm all nasty, right? I'm all talking like this, right? And then I have to go, it's the end of the month. Gary's having a bad day. It's not my fault. I needed something.
Yeah.
All I did was call, and I literally have to talk myself off a ledge. All I did was call Gary. I had a legit request. Sorry, Gary.
Poor Gary.
No, Gary's a great guy, but sometimes he gets really quick, like your husband. He gets really quick to it, like, hey, just give me the point I need, and let me get out of here because I got something else to get onto that's very important. And I get that, but I literally have to have that 3-minute conversation with myself to talk myself off the ledge of, why was Gary mean to me? He wasn't mean to me. He wasn't mean to me, Tom. He just,
and then they don't understand.
Yeah,
they're like, I have these conversations. I'm like, why? What's wrong? Why are you being so like? Why are you mad at me? He's like, I'm not mad at you. He's like, I just said we're going to the park, and I'm like, it was the way you said it. And I read so deep into that, and he's like, there was nothing behind that except we're going to the park.
But then you're kind of like, how could there be nothing behind that?
And he can't hear it. And I mean, we've been married for almost 13 years, and we're still having this conversation.
It's not going to go away.
But then the kids start, and the kids will talk, and he's like, do you hear how you're talking? I'm like, oh, pot, meet kettle.
It's true.
He's finally starting to see.
It's true.
Can I say the worst though is when the question comes, why are you so sensitive?
Oh.
Ugh.
I feel,
why am I so sensitive? God has blessed me with this sensitivity. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Tom, I already feel you're on the way to a really healthy, empathic relationship. Like you're doing all the right things. You don't even need me to tell me what you need to do.
But I sound like a psychopath in my office when I'm like, I can imagine what my coworker, because I'm empathic. I can imagine
You're
my
an
coworker.
empath head.
Empath Ed?
Empath head, yes. I'm empathic. I can imagine what my coworker sees from behind me. Like that I'm like, I'm just talking to myself.
But also too, they could, I'm sure your body language, your shoulders slump. Like that's sad to see. See, I'm using my empath right now. Like I'm just thinking of you being sad.
I'm just
getting
realizing
sad.
we're on a podcast. You can't see like I'm motioning.
Yeah, he's
I'm whispering
doing all
to
these-
myself. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
Gary had a question and it's fine. It's okay. Gary's not mad at me. I'm good. You're good, Tom. You didn't do anything wrong.
This is why we need to video our podcast. Most people do. We're going to start doing that.
But I really have to do that probably, I'll say probably 10 or 20 times a day. Easily 10 or 20 times a day.
Tom, you're so exhausted. But that's good that you do it. That's good that you do it. So, all right, let's talk about what we can do because
Yes,
now
please,
we're all
let's get to
sad.
this part.
Get this train back on
We're
track.
all sad. So,
And I don't mean to dump all that on you guys. by the
no,
way,
not
sorry.
at all. But that's now I'm going to wear that all day.
She's like, God, Tom, I'm so depressed. It's so sad.
No, I'm depressed.
Can you imagine what he says
All right,
in the office?
here's the thing. We say this in every single episode. I really feel, and honestly, like, this is it. Boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
This is really it. We don't create enough boundaries for ourselves. So here's the thing. We confuse, I think, boundaries as rejection, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Does that make sense? Like,
does.
we have the urge to help, and that often overrides the need for us to, like, I don't know, self-preserve ourselves because we've got this uncanny, like, I have to do it now. We need to help people. And like, it's this weird need that overtakes us. And then we're really just jumping into things that aren't our responsibility.
Yeah, boundaries tend to be like restrictions or places you can't go or walls you have to put up. And as empaths, we don't want that. There's a need for open, like you said, open feelings like that.
But we feel responsible for things, and listen to this, that are not ours. They're not our responsibility. Like, if I can say nothing else in this podcast that you listen to, it is not your responsibility for the emotions of others. It is not your responsibility how somebody reacts to something you say, right? We all are responsible in our reactions. So how Gary reacts to the way that you say something and how you react to Gary, that's your responsibility.
Yes, that is.
And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what you did.
Yeah.
You talked it through and you go, listen, Gary's having a bad day. It's the end of the month, Gary. I hope his name's not really Gary. Poor Gary. Is his name Gary?
It might be Gary.
We did
For the sake of this, let's say it's not
for
Gary.
a podcast.
Yeah,
we
we
change
just-
all
we
names of
changed the
people
name.
and
It's not
places.
Gary.
We're not going to say where Gary works either.
Gary,
but,
love you. You're great. You're awesome, Gary.
But right, that's what you did. So that was good, Tom. Your reaction, that's what you're responsible for. So you
Yes.
took that and you said, I'm not going to spiral. He said it this way. He didn't mean anything. It's the end of the month. That's what you're responsible for.
And this is not a joke. I literally have to have a 3-minute conversation with myself privately about I'm not responsible for the way that Gary responded because he responded to this. I'm responsible for how I feel. And if I can't let that bother me because I got other stuff I got to do.
Mm-hmm.
I have other things I have to be responsible for and I can't let that bother me.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is going to be, and there's probably nothing behind it. He's just answering the question and then moving on. It's nothing, Tom. You're overthinking it. And I have to have that conversation with myself. It's not something that just like, oh yeah, just brush it aside. No, it's not easy in having that conversation over and over. I'll have that conversation 10 minutes after that as well and go, Tom, you remember we just talked about this 10 minutes ago. Gary's
Sure.
not mad at you. He just had he just needed the answer and go. That's it. So it's not as easy as it just sounds like, oh yeah, you just like you're saying, just reframe it or however, whatever. It is challenging. So if you're dealing with this out there, listener, it's not something that like, hey, you just flip a switch. So don't be discouraged if it's not something that you're able to do right away. It's a skill that even I have to work on, over and over and over and over and over again. I feel like a beginner at this all the time.
Right. Well, you may have to do it throughout the day, right? Because it keeps creeping back in because you're an empath. And I'm like, oh, I thought I'd let that go. I didn't let that go.
No.
And, sometimes it helps to talk to other people about that, and sometimes it doesn't, because sometimes you don't get the validation that you need because somebody that's not an empath is like, oh, Beth's body language like that. I don't think she was mad at all. Like I'll say that to Chantel after a meeting. Did you notice, I think somebody might have, and they said this and that. And like, sometimes people have to go, oh no, she was, trying to get out of here because there was somebody was on hold for her or whatever it is. But, empaths are very sensitive. So the littlest things being cut off, being given, we're going to the park, all of that, like you're spiraling out of control. Mm-hmm. Boundaries.
Yes, boundaries.
Necessary. Is this mine? Like that's what you got to ask yourself. Is this mine? Is this my responsibility? Is this my minutia? Is this my stuff? Right? You have to be able to say no. And you have to not feel guilty about that. And I think that's what it is. Over and over again, no. Gary, it's the end of the month. No. And you just got to keep saying that to yourself. And like you said, Tom, it may come up 10 times a day, but at least you may be able to cut it off before you spiral. So no, I already thought about this. No, I'm not going to think about this again. No, and be able to like stop that negativeness because then, it just filters through.
Yeah. And it builds off of what the previous one was. The boundary is knowing that it's not yours to deal with and that you're giving yourself permission to not deal with it. This isn't mine. I have no reason. There's no logical reason for me to take this on. Mm-hmm. I have my own stuff going on. I have permission to say no to feeling a way about this, this previous occurrence or this other thing that someone else is feeling. Someone else is having a bad day. I can't let that ruin mine.
Yeah. And a boundary it's not a betrayal, right?
No, it's a shield.
It's a protection.
Yeah.
And that does not make you, selfish, I feel.
Because there's a time for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That when your spouse is feeling that way, mm-hmm. right? Then mm-hmm. being empathic is not a bad thing, right?
Right.
But when it's your coworker or your neighbor or the guy at the grocery store who's rude to you, like you don't have to, oddly specific, right?
That didn't happen yesterday.
Gary. No, not Gary.
Gary also has a second job.
Yeah. But giving yourself permission to not feel that way about it, and that it's okay not to feel that, not to feel empathic about certain things.
Mm-hmm. Because empathy without boundaries it's like, I don't know, emotional bankruptcy, right? Like you're going to bankrupt yourself. If everybody gets all of you, then there's nothing left for what's really important. Like you said, your spouse, your children,
or yourself.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the same thing yourself. Right there. If you give your empathy to everyone else, you have none for yourself. And then you end up in this, depressive cycle. And that's not good either.
And I think we sometimes feel that we're too much. I don't know if you feel that way. But I feel that I'm too much. Like when I'm in a room, I'm always worried that I'm too much. And Tom's like, you are.
I know people who are too much. And I get where they're coming from too. Like but that energy, it is infectious. But I know though that person who is too much, I'm not saying that you are too much. I know a guy who is, where every time they walk into a room and they go to a party, they're the one holding court. You know what I mean? They're the one at the table where he's telling stories and slapping tables and stuff like that. And he's having a great time. There's something else that he's compensating for in that instance.
I don't need to be holding court, but I'm the one that's in the room while he's holding court saying, oh my gosh, well, this person feels completely left out. And why did he say that? And now you've upset this person. And now I'm trying to find that person. And, and I feel like people are like, leave me alone, Krista. Yeah. Like I'm a lot.
Yeah. I feel that way sometimes too, that I'm a lot.
What about you, Chantel? Chantel doesn't like being in that room at all.
I don't want to be in the room at all. I'm an introvert. Mm-hmm. So like I'm the person in the corner that Krista's worried is alone.
Well, 100%.
And I'm happy being in the corner alone.
Yeah. See, I'm too much for you sometimes.
No, you're not too much for me.
because I'm going over.
Because you like try to draw me in. But like I'm a people watcher. I'll sit and I just observe.
Some people are more comfortable that way, and that's fine too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm a wallflower.
Yeah. Versus some people like Krista and me, we're too much when we go to parties.
We're too much. And that's okay. We're embracing our true, authentic self.
I'm just sharing stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So being an empath, yes, it is a beautiful gift if you can put boundaries on it. And if you are not an empath, then hopefully hearing this makes you, a little softer towards people that are empaths, because it's really not just this great gift that you're just so loving and communicative and you're able to feel deeply everybody's feelings. It's not really just a gift. It is an exhausting trait at times.
Because it's not just the positive feelings. A lot of people think empaths are like, they're happy all the time and they feel good about things. No. It's all the bad stuff, the negative stuff too, that we also take on. And that's what makes it difficult. And like I said, it's exhausting because that process of, is this mine? Is this theirs? What did I contribute to it? All that overthinking, that's the part that also plays a role in it too. That's the exhausting part.
Part of our stinking thinking, which was, I don't know, a couple podcasts ago, I feel.
It was a while ago.
Episodes ago.
It's been a while.
But it all comes full circle, right? You don't have to fix it all. You don't have to carry it all. You sure as heck don't have to apologize for feeling deeply in a world where, I don't know, some people are just numb. So if you're an empath, I absolutely think you should embrace it, right? It's not a curse. It is a calling, but it's one that has to include you. So here's your reminder. You're allowed to feel and still have boundaries. You're allowed to care and still say no. And most importantly, you're allowed to put the bag down, especially when it was never yours to carry. Oh, I could cry over that. I'm Krista Jones, along with my co-host today, Chantel Schaefer and Tom Morell. This is Exhausted Sparrows Unite. And if you love what we do, check out the website for the charity. It's sparrowsnestcharity.org. And there's going to be video one day and YouTube channels one day. That is all coming soon. You can also leave us comments for the episodes and tell us what slogan you want on the back of this shirt. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourself and each other.